one thing I've noticed, and I've got this. Come on. So is everybody clear on the dog issue? They come back.
Here and doing the walk today to highlight the need for homes for people in the Upper Yarra. Some alarming statistics that are out there with public housing. I think that it came out the other day that there's only been 74 new homes built in the last 5 years to add to the housing stock, when we know that probably 6,000 a year is needed. But importantly, we see that keeping people in their community is the critical element of social and affordable housing, not simply taking people away and putting them into inner suburbs. Because I dare say there's not a person up here that wants to go and live in an inner suburb of Melbourne. So our group has been working on the critical foundation documents to develop this site for 2 years now, and we've got to the pre-planning level, which is an important step for council, and council is 100% behind us on this. And we're at that point where we need to work with a registered housing provider and get the state government to agree to put it on the funding list for the big housing build. That's where today has made a tremendous difference already. The state government has heard. They've asked the council into meetings already to start talking, because apparently there's some very noisy people in the Upper Yarra, which is brilliant. So the reason we've chosen the type of village that we're looking at up here, and that's 12 homes, the type of village we're doing is the only way this site would permit the number of homes. And I truly believe that to continue the work of what Fr Cerini did many, many years ago, to revamp this site and this building to provide for social and affordable housing, would get his tick of approval. And I wouldn't want to get on his dark side. So the key message I'd like to say from here is that every one of us needs to have one singular mission for the next decade at least, is that we must end homelessness in all forms. Now, every one of us can do it in any way, by advocating, by assisting where you can. The League has approached the council to see if they'll even consider changing their bylaws through this crisis to allow a caravan or a tiny home be placed on private property with an appropriate permit so that it can be looked after, to provide housing for someone in need. We all share different ideologies, but we have one biology, the absolute need for shelter, and we feel if you can provide someone with adequate and appropriate shelter, the mental health issues, the physical health issues, all of that will resolve itself. So thank you for coming today, and I'd like to pass over to our Mayor to say a few words from the Council and make him commit to some support.
Can everyone hear me? Yes. Yeah, I don't think I'll use that. Yeah. Look, I agree with everything that Dave said, and sitting as a ex-officiary on the Warburton Advancement League, and to see the amount of work that Dave and the Advancement League and also Kate Barrett and Adra have done in regards to this issue, there's no question. We don't have to identify whether there's an issue or not. It's clearly there. And I think that if you look at this parcel of land, over the years, it's just like being herding cats. there's a valuable piece of land here that we can get a great outcome on. And I mentioned this at council last Tuesday night that a meeting before that I actually knew Charlie Cerini, but as a 17-year-old. My brother was the policeman down at Yarra Junction, and he had to come up here for something, I forget what it was. And I remember Charlie saying to Ken, my brother, "Are you a Catholic?" And Ken said, "No, I'm not of any faith at all." And Fr Cerini said back to him straight away, "Well, you can call me Charlie." So, and that's the type of person he was. He actually brought the community together. It didn't matter what faith you were. And I think that was very important. And to use his name and what he did all those years ago in 1966 in bringing those kids up from Yarra Junction, shaming the then government into listening that you've got to provide a bus for these kids to get to this school. And it was on the front page of the Sun in the morning, and by the end of the week those kids had a bus to school. So it's very fitting that we use this history piece to do what we're trying to achieve here. Dave, I congratulate you on the body of work that you've been doing. Council is, yes, we're right behind that. You've had the meetings with our planners. I've had the initial discussions with Homes Victoria over 12 months ago, and Dave said to me, "Be careful not to beat anyone up." But it was disappointing that initial reaction from Homes Victoria that this was an outstanding project, and then they just went absolutely silent. So today's event, we hope that puts that on the map. So to each and every one of you, thank you so much for coming today. Council will be supporting this project because we're looking at a project that will deliver between 10 and 15 homes, and a number of those will address that critical housing crisis that we've got, that homelessness piece too, that Kate Barrett and her team are dealing with every single day. Not just the odd day, it's every day. So it's most important the community gets behind this. I don't mind getting a flood of emails, because I'll have great pleasure in shoving them off to the Minister, because they've got to be aware of the crisis that we're putting up with this morning. This morning on ABC, they actually said 123,000 people sleep rough every night. That's got to stop. And there's a fair amount in this district that do that as well. So this is a great project and it's worthy of support. Thanks very much, Dave.
Thanks, Jim. And like I said, thank you each and every one of you for coming today, and an email, as it said, to Jim, saying how much you feel the need for social and affordable housing to be in the Upper Yarra is a critical piece to keep banging on and getting the government to listen. I've got a meeting with Catholic Housing in Ballarat, that's where they're based, this Thursday, and they are an existing registered housing provider. We know that the system of the government funding social housing into the future will only come from registered housing providers. So we intend working so closely with them so that they can use us as the outreach up here. So we want it locally managed for the community. It's why we think that keeping kids at local schools, keeping people in jobs in Warburton and surrounds, and keeping them part of the sport in their communities. That's the critical element to all of this. So thank you, and I appreciate you coming today.